The Titanic passengers, 8 accounts of individuals who sailed on the vessel. The Titanic brought together a diverse group of people, ranging from the affluent to those seeking fresh beginnings. Among them were an aspiring Olympian and a dedicated architect who met their fate alongside the ship. Delve into the stories of those who embarked on this fateful journey. John Jacob Astor and his young wife Madeleine, aged 19, stood out as the wealthiest couple on the Titanic, ranging among the most affluent individuals worldwide. Astor, an American tycoon, was estimated to possess a fortune exceeding $80 million at the time of the disaster. The couple had curtailed their extended honeymoon across Europe and Egypt, a trip undertaken to escape the scrutiny surrounding their substantial age gap and marriage, after Madeleine became pregnant. In their desire for their child to be born in America, they secured passage on the Titanic to return home. While Madeleine safely boarded a lifeboat, she later recounted how the men remaining aboard the ship seemed surprisingly unperturbed by the unfolding events. John Jacob Astor's body was subsequently recovered from the ocean, and in August 1912, Madeleine gave birth to their son, John Jacob Astor, the sixth who would become known as the Titanic baby. John Jacob Astor and his wife Madeleine, while he perished on the Titanic, she survived and gave birth to their child. ALFRED NOURNEY, originally from the Netherlands, aspired to lead a life of opulence aboard the Titanic, seeking to evade a scandal after impregnating a woman. Nourney embarked on a journey from his residence in Cologne, Germany, to stay with relatives in America. He brought along exquisite jewelry and expensive attire to maintain the facade of aristocracy, despite initially boarding the second-class section in Cherbourg. Soon after, he requested a transfer to first class. Nourney was among the first to enter a lifeboat, where he allegedly smoked and intermittently fired his gun into the air. An account suggests that his behaviour aboard the rescue ship, RMS Carpathia, lacked gentlemanly conduct, as he was purportedly found asleep on a stack of blankets designated for survivors. Upon reaching the United States, Nourney claimed to have lost all of his wealth during the voyage and subsequently returned to Germany, where he later aligned himself with the Nazi Party. Thomas Andrews, one of the masterminds behind the construction of the Titanic, Andrews embarked on the ship's maiden voyage as part of the Guarantee Group. Representatives from Harland and Wolff tasked with identifying areas for improvement and addressing minor issues. Following the collision, Andrews notified the captain that the vessel would sink within 2 hours. Aware of insufficient number of lifeboats, he tirelessly searched the cabins, urging people to don life jackets and board lifeboats if possible. A steward claimed to have seen Andrews in the first-class smoking room, gazing at a painting of Plymouth Sound, a destination the Titanic was scheduled to visit on its return journey, seemingly making no effort to save himself. However, others reported witnessing him assisting with the evacuation until the very bitter end, before ultimately jumping overboard. His body was never recovered. Dorothy Gibson. Dorothy Gibson, an American actress renowned for her roles in numerous theatre productions and silent films, was returning from a vacation in Italy, accompanied by her mother. Gibson and her mother managed to escape aboard the first lifeboat to depart the sinking ship, but their safety was once again jeopardized when a hole was discovered in the bottom of the lifeboat. They hastily plugged the hole using clothing, and shortly after her arrival in New York, Gibson reenacted her harrowing experience in the silent film Saved from the Titanic, the first movie to depict the disaster, which premiered on the 16th of May 1912. Gibson co-wrote the film and even wore the same attire that she had donned on the night of the tragedy. Richard Norris Williams. Richard Norris Williams, an American tennis player, boarded the Titanic as a first-class passenger in Cherbourg, intending to return home for a tournament. When the ship collided with an iceberg before the true extent of the danger became apparent, the 21-year-old Williams encountered a steward attempting to assist a frantic passenger trapped in their cabin. Williams broke down the door to rescue the individual, but this act incurred the wrath of another steward who threatened to sue him for the damage that was caused. Williams was among those plunged into the icy waters, forced to cling to a lifeboat while awaiting rescue. Later, a doctor aboard the rescue ship Carpathia informed him that his legs, affected by the extreme cold, might require amputation. Williams refused and diligently walked back and forth on the deck to restore circulation, and astonishingly, a mere 6 weeks later, he emerged victorious in a tennis tournament. Joseph Philippe Le Mercier Laroche. Joseph Laroche, an engineer originally from Haiti, travelled in second class alongside his wife and 2 daughters when the Titanic met its tragic end. Laroche had relocated to France at the age of 15 to pursue his studies in engineering. However, racial discrimination hindered his chances of securing a well-paid engineering position in the country. When his French wife Juliette became pregnant with their 3rd child, they made the decision to return to Haiti. Joseph, believed to be the only black passenger on the Titanic, managed to secure a place for his family on a lifeboat, but he perished with the ship. His body was never recovered. Margaret Molly Brown. Margaret Brown, a socialite from the United States, earned the posthumous nickname of the Unsinkable Molly Brown due to her experiences aboard the Titanic. Molly's estranged husband was James Joseph Brown, a successful mining engineer whose achievements had propelled the couple to the highest accolades of Colorado society. Molly had been travelling in Egypt with the ASTORs before deciding to book a trip back on the Titanic upon learning of her grandson's illness. Once aboard a lifeboat, she actively participated in rowing and encouraged other women to do the same to keep warm. Despite objections from the quartermaster in charge, Molly allegedly threatened to push him overboard. Molly also made futile attempts to persuade the quartermaster to turn back and search for survivors. Once aboard the Carpathia, she aided fellow survivors by distributing food and blankets. Her newfound fame enabled her to support charitable causes, including the establishment of a relief station for injured soldiers during World War I. Violet Jessop. Violet Jessop may forever be remembered as one of the most fortunate individuals to have travelled by sea, having survived collisions involving all 3 of White Star Line's Olympic-class liners. Born to Irish immigrants in Argentina, Jessop and her family relocated to England after her father's passing. She began working as a stewardess on passenger liners. In September 1911, Violet was serving on the RMS Olympic, Titanic's sister ship, when it collided with the warship HMS Hawke near the Isle of Wight. A year later, Violet found herself working as a stewardess once again, this time aboard the Titanic. As the ship descended into chaos, she was tasked with assisting non-English speaking passengers onto lifeboats before being instructed to board lifeboat 16 herself. In 1916, Violet served on the 3rd Olympic-class ship, the RMS Britannic, which had been converted into a hospital during World War I. Unfortunately, it sank in the Aegean Sea after hitting a mine, resulting in the loss of 30 lives. Miraculously, Violet survived the sinking, although she did sustain a severe head injury. Despite these harrowing ordeals, she continued to work at sea, and Violet passed away in 1971 at the age of 83.